Barack Obama warning that we could see trillion-dollar deficits for years to come. He's also proposing a stimulus plan that could top $1 trillion. Joining us now from Washington to talk more about all of this is the former presidential candidate, Republican Congressman Ron Paul of Texas. So, Congressman, we know some of the details of this stimulus plan, combination of tax breaks and spending, maybe even tax subsidies for some people who don't earn enough money to actually pay income taxes. What do you think of the whole proposal that as you know it thus far?
Well, I think it's just more of the same. It's more spending and more debt, and I don't think it'll solve the problem. It's turning the spending responsibilities over to government rather than individuals, and that's not the way you make an economy work. That's what we've been trying to do for years, and we've accelerated that in the last year. And it's just stumbling along. It reminds me of the 1930s. And we're going to spend a lot of time and a lot of money doing this, but it's not going to solve our problem. You know, they say that we're going to have trillion-dollar deficits for years to come. At the same time, we want to be fiscal conservatives and start talking about budgetary reforms. Like changing the budget is a tactical thing, and it's only a budgetary problem. But to me, it's a philosophic problem. Why are we spending all this money? Why do we run the world empire? And why do we have a welfare state? And how did we get ourselves into this mess? And how did we allow this monetary system to do this to us? But we cannot solve our problem by doing exactly the same thing that got us into this mess.
This idea, Congressman Paul, of trillion-dollar deficits for years to come, it's almost like trillion has become the new billion. And if you say it quickly, maybe it doesn't hurt so much. But just how much pain could this leave for our children and grandchildren?
Well, you know, we talk about that a lot, and we should, but I'm afraid that this generation is going to suffer because I think the confidence eventually will be lost. You know, if $2 trillion a year budget doesn't seem to quite work, and that's the tactic, why not have a $4 trillion? Eventually the confidence will be lost. It'll be lost in the system. The financial system broke down because they lost confidence in it because it was built on illusions. But soon they're going to lose confidence in the dollar. Now that'll be a crisis that'll be much bigger than the crisis we're facing today.
So if you were the president's chief economic advisor or you were running the budget office, what would you do?
I would balance the budget, and I would tell people to save their money and that we should cut spending. But where we would cut spending is not domestic. We spend over $1 trillion a year maintaining our world empire. We can afford to do less overseas because what we do overseas just causes problems for us. The Soviet system came down because they overextended themselves in Afghanistan. They bankrupted that country. And actually, Osama bin Laden said, I'm going to bankrupt the Soviets, and they'll have to leave. And they did. Right. We're doing the same thing. But we're too extended. We could balance the budget, cut spending, and let the people go back to work, go to savings, and let the market operate.
So, Dr. Paul, you obviously know a lot about economics, you know a lot about finance, but noted and Nobel Prize-winning economist Paul Krugman has said we need to have a stimulus package. It needs to be a big stimulus package, and we need to have it quickly.
Well, yeah, he comes from a different view, but I doubt if he ever read Austrian economics. I don't even know if he knows who Mises is and Hayek and Rothbard, the people who talked about free market. He's not a free market person. Matter of fact, we haven't had free market policies in this country for a long, long time because once you have a Federal Reserve System, they are the central economic planners. They manipulate the economy by artificially lowering interest rates. So the economists you hear from in our universities and from Washington, D.C. are all interventionists. They're liberals. They're Keynesians. So if they're still winning the Nobel Prize for economics, then we're in serious trouble. But fortunately for us, there are a lot more people in this country who are waking up to the fact that the culprit is really the Federal Reserve, the monetary system, and this spendthrift Congress that we have and government. And once that's realized and we have enough people, it will change because we can't continue to do what we're doing now. Well, something has to give.
Yeah, there's no question that this idea of running multi-year trillion-dollar deficits is more than just a little shocking. Congressman Ron Paul, it's always good to talk to you. Thanks for coming in this morning. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much.
If this were a dictatorship, it'd be a heck of a lot easier. Just so long as I'm the dictator.